All right then. Welcome here and welcome back. Guys, AsBlueAsItGets. Postgame, Green Bay Packers versus New York Giants. Mike Kafka making his first head coaching debut here with the New York Giants after the firing of course, Brian Daboll and all that. Jameis Winston starting in this game. Uh, Russ moved down to after him on the depth chart with Jackson Dart out for this game with a concussion. Um, First quarter. Well, we know with the end of the score, Giants did lose 27-20. As far as the game itself, if you got to see it and everything like that, it wasn't, in my opinion, too much different from what we have been seeing from the team previously. The fourth quarter, we were up maybe in the fourth quarter, but only by like a few points or so by that time. But yeah, I think we were just a few, but it wasn't such a large gap in our lead, so where I would call like a collapse, like anything like that necessarily. And it being the first game of Mike Kafka, I think the team played okay, through a lot of the game here. Unfortunately, things like the defensive run or run defense was still a problem for us. Everybody was running. They were bringing guys in for like one carry, and they were going off for 15 plus yards, 10 plus yards. Jacobs was, about 5 yards a carry. He had one big run, but he was up to about 5 or so yards a carry, 5.5, and then he went out in the game, and the backup came in, Wilson. He didn't, just automatically come in and start running all over us, but there was definitely some problems throughout the game, especially when in the red zone and the run defense. There was one call where it was like a four, and we had four. It was like eight in the box, maybe even nine in the box at that time, and the alignment was a little bit to the left, and they ran an inside right run handoff, and he just walked right in, pretty much. Whoever it was the running back, might have been Wilson at that point. He just walked right in, man, and for the touchdown. And it was just bad at that point. With the interior run defense, just right there, wasn't good. And there were a few other plays when they were running to the left and running some trap plays on the edge, and Abdul Carter kind of got caught up in those, which is, questions of, is he playing himself into them, or is it just scheme rolling him into them with the stunt, moving him onto the inside rush path on the tackle to do that, run into the tackling guard. Bates got double teamed and then closed off on the edge by the tackle, or it might have been a time, but he just not good, man. And that was a big run. That might have been the big run right there for Jacobs, or who somebody who would just come in and just got one touch and just took off, man. Not great run defense today at all. I didn't see many changes from the defense in general. I think Adebo was out, of course, this game. Cordell Flott was back out this game, I believe, back out there. Um, as far as the starters and stuff like that, Bobby Okereke was out there. Dex had some points, had some QB pressure going. I think he ended like two QB pressures for the game, but just still no real solid tackles or a sack like that yet. It was good to promise to see just a little bit more out of there in the interior, just in general, getting some pressure on the QB. But edge guys, Brian Burns came down with, I think, two more sacks, so he's up to like 12, 13. I think he might have two sacks, so he might be up to 13 this game. So he's got more than half the sacks on the team. Big props, fucking Brian Burns, neighborhood Spider-Man. Definitely wrapping up these villains and bringing them down for these sacks, man. These villain quarterbacks that we go against. And yeah. If I was the offense, Jameis Winston, it was pretty much Jameis Winston. I mean, he probably should have had a few interceptions this game. Maybe another touchdown at least, possibly. It was a throw to Hyatt. I know some are probably having some feelings about the route running on that, which I could definitely understand too. You want to finish out the route. Just as these players don't play together as much in a starting sense like that. But maybe we think Jameis would be playing with him in a practice or backup thing, but Russ is the second QB or was. So who knows there, but but they've gotten in a week of practice since Dart was hurt and stuff like that for this game. They already knew about that. Just it just rough points there in the offense of route running on all wide receivers. Wandell had a lot of targets, not many catches, dropped a few. The refereeing was kind of crazy how they were calling these drops on both teams for the receiving group. So there were a few drops on both sides. Um, Jordan Love, he had went out for a little bit. And Malik Willis came in. If you remember him from Tennessee, he came in and he was doing some, tuck and run stuff on us. And the run defense is just not great. So he was coming off. He threw the one touchdown, I think. Maybe I don't know how many career touchdowns he has, but a touchdown for him to Christian. Well, I can't remember his name now. Watson on Green Bay. It was on Deontay Banks. For me, it was more like the positioning. Banks there. He was behind, the DB there. I hadn't really gone to the footage to look at, position as the snap went forward, but when the pass got there, that's just the position that wasn't great for there. And yeah, touchdown. And that got the game tied. And at that point, it was just kind of, the riding it out with Winston, man, with Jameis. You know, Tracy had a good game. Tyrone Tracy had a good game. Good running from him. Didn't get any touchdowns today. It was for Devin Singletary for the touchdown, inside the red zone there. Just might be some ball security things, reasons wise, but who knows? They're the touchdowns. We'll take them. So, yeah, a good game for the running backs. Good game, productive game for them, especially because carries with Tyrone Tracy and then scoring touchdowns there for Singletary into the red zone. So it was a good game for the run game. Probably a better game than the pass game itself. A couple of receptions. All those plays for the running backs were catches and runs too, or some of their longer plays for the game. So we give credit to the pass game there with Jameis at least dumping it off on those short passes, 2, 3 yards out of the backfield, where it's kind of like an extended handoff, basically. So still productive by the run game. Defensive wise, it was just missing a Dabo, and we know the sore points with the secondary, and they're pretty much there. I don't think I really saw much difference out of the Giants as far as the game that we have played this year. It wasn't like we were up big to collapse, and then as far as the offensive plays, I didn't see much. I didn't feel like there was much difference there, other than seeing Hyatt out there more so. And then going to Theo Johnson like we have been, which is good. Not sure how much he really did today. It was not the best out of the pass game. James did have 200 yards though. Only one interception, I believe. I'm gonna check here. Yeah, I was only one interception, I believe. So, yeah, only one interception. So, it was okay for there. We're gonna get through these games. Um, Mike Kafka is the head coach of the team. They did move somebody up to offensive coordinator. Shane Bowens still is the defensive coordinator. Joe Shane still is the general manager. There are now 6 games to go. This was one in my predicted guesstimations that we probably should have won. And I was like, oh man, I was Green Bay. Sorry, it was an L. And we were up by more than a touchdown, or at least 6 points. So it was kind of another situation where we might should have pulled out this win. It did go up 20-7 at the end of it. So if it was an overtime situation, it'd been nice to see. That's all I really got. I'm trying to chill out. I'm not. I've had these. I took a long break, from my last video, so it was like a nice, just relaxing, getting ready for this game type thing, and hoping to see some positive stuff. So we saw some positive stuff on the opposite side out of I'd say the run, and yeah, our run defense is not good. The secondary is really not that good. So when stuff happens against these opponent teams, it's just about how much can the offense produce to kind of make up for it. And sometimes where it used to feel like the defense would have to hold on so much, to just until the offense arrived, pretty much, right? And so it was like it's just a situation to that, and it's kind of been that for a few seasons now, as far as the game scripting and the pace of the offense's production, even though it's now kicking up, it's still about the same amount of points that we have been scoring, about 21 and a half or so. So we scored 20 today. And defensively, it was pretty much the same thing with the sore points in the secondary. Um, yeah, that's all I got, I think, for it. Not really upset about the game, to be honest with you. I can't, a new head coach here, so we can't, force everything onto like Mike Kafka as the head coach, making decisions throughout the game. He did have a challenge early in the game that might have not have been the best challenge. For the play that was the result that it was, and the pace. At least it wasn't just a 2 or 3 yard type of challenge. It was for 8 yards or so, and I lost that challenge. And yeah, um, that run touchdown, I think, is really the emphasis of the game today. Other than Jameis, almost having about 3 or 4 picks, a lot of dropped potential interceptions for Green Bay. But yeah, just that run in the red zone that just went up to the inside right was just a real stamp on how the defense has been playing. Um, just when it comes to making the bigger stops at points, even on a few games back, we did have a red zone stop on 4 downs, 4 downs plus, and they stopped them. So we've seen it out of defense, but getting it consistently is not. It's not really here right now, and it's probably something that's going to have to be addressed in the off season, pretty much, unless we see a real stark turnaround, which who knows. And that's it, man. Before this gets too long, again, it's that guy AsBlueAsItGets. Appreciate anybody that comes by and check these out. How'd you feel about the game? Like I said, I didn't really feel like too much was different about this game, which kind of says, for me at least, or maybe others in the fandom, just really comes more together about just the overall depth that we're working with here currently, um, and potential things that probably need to happen as far as the talent, um, bolstering it up. Or I say people got there's only some people with roster spots. So, all right, man. Peace.